Hey, Pat.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for doing my podcast.
Of course.
So, you and I are really good friends.
Best.
Once a year, the other person will invite the other person their birthday party. And we never go. Ever.
No. I've got things to do.
One time I almost went, but then I flat out forgot.
I went to your birthday party this year, but you were late to your own birthday party, so you might not have seen me.
I was over 2 hours late.
Yeah.
Did I say hi to you?
Yeah, we talked.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have been to one another's birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
But the important thing is we keep inviting each other.
Yep.
Because that's what best friends do. So, how's your dating life?
It's good. I've had a girlfriend for a long time.
Okay, is that the incredibly beautiful girl that I see you around with from time to time?
Oh, probably.
Dark hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sure she thanks you as well.
Oh, it's no problem.
Yeah.
So how's that going? How did that start?
We met on a police lineup. My parents had been murdered. I was like, please don't let it have been her.
Oh, man.
She was one of the suspects.
Right.
It was her. She had killed both my mom and my dad.
Shit.
And then the rest of the relationship has been kind of overcoming that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like, to look into someone's eyes, like, I'm falling for this person, but at the same time, knowing that your mother and father are dead by her hand.
Right.
It makes things...
That's a little bit...
I mean, that's, like, it's complicated on Facebook for sure.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
complicated.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep, Al Baldwin,
Al Baldwin?
Johnny Krasinski.
Please stop abbreviating.
Who was the other guy? Steve Martin? Stevie Martins. It's complicated. No, but we just met standard channels, how you meet people.
How's that?
She came up and slapped my ass at a party.
Are you being serious now?
Yeah, now I'm being serious.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, hey. And she said, are you single? And I said, yeah. And she goes, we should go out sometime. Which is what I need because I can't pick up on signals and don't know how to speak to people.
No man can do either of those things.
No. So I was just like, yeah, that fell in my lap. Sounds great. And then it's worked out very well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I said that thing to a guy one time.
Yeah.
First and last time. You shouldn't ask guys out.
Why though?
Because it's like the bag
some
of
guys
chips
need
thing.
some help.
No, any guy will say yes whether or not he likes you because that's what guys do.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's true. I mean, and then they'll probably take you for granted or any number of things. So I just don't ask guys out as a rule because they'll be like, oh yeah, sure. It's like, sure, I'll have a chip, whatever. It's sitting right there.
But why should everything in a relationship, from the moment of meeting to when you both die at the same time, hours apart, because you love each other so much, why must everything fall to the guy?
It mustn't, but it's interesting that you went there.
But it does, kind of.
Beginning.
And I'm not saying it even in like a sexist way, but it's like the asking out, like every step has to be driven by the guy. Usually. There are exceptions, like my relationship is an exception. But...
Exception.
I said exception. I finished it.
Okay, in my mind I heard accept because you've been abbreviating so much that I'm traumatized. Sorry, continue.
So mine is an exception. But
now you definitely.
Now I'm going to use it a lot throughout this podcast. Okay. But yeah, it's just strange to me that, so let's say you went out to dinner with a guy, a gentleman caller, and like the third, you've been out 3 times. And each of those times, he's like, "Hey, can you get this?" Wouldn't that be a story for your friends? Like, this guy's a huge loser.
Yeah.
Of course it would.
Yeah.
And you seem like a pretty. Maybe not a feminist, but, a strong lady.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
You're a strong, independent woman.
Go on.
I just find that interesting that is the... I'm going to sound like Adam Carolla here or something like I'm talking.
You kind of look like him right now.
Oh, don't say that. Just like something I'm bringing up. Like, I think it's strange, is all.
No, I totally...
And we'll never change it in our lifetimes. Maybe we don't need to change it.
Right.
But, that would be a story to your friends. Like, oh my God, he asked me to pay or he asked me to split it.
But it's mostly out of self-preservation because I see with my friends and it's just common knowledge that if you ask a guy out, he will devalue you because that's just
if a girl asks a guy out.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
If a woman asks a man out.
Yeah, but past the initial asking, I think it's all fair game.
Okay, but what about the guys, myself included, who find it very, very difficult to ask a girl out without a large amount of alcohol?
Well, maybe. Well, then drink a large amount of alcohol. I mean, maybe women shouldn't go out with men who can't even ask them out,
That's true, too. I never understood how anyone had sex. I couldn't figure out how it even happened until I had my first drink, which came pretty late in life.
Right. How late?
This is like the tail end of college.
Okay.
22 or something.
Okay.
And then the second I had a drink, I was like, oh, this is how people have sex. And it was like immediate. So I don't know how people who don't drink, especially people who drink a lot and then get sober.
I know.
I couldn't even imagine it.
What's like your most attractive trait in a woman?
Most attractive trait in a woman?
Or a man.
Physical or otherwise?
Just anything. Whatever trumps the other one.
Well, definitely sense of humor, which is a boring answer, but I couldn't be with somebody who...
Super boring.
What do you want me to say? Somebody's ass?
No. Somebody's ass.
I couldn't be with somebody that wasn't funny or at least had a concept of funny.
Oh, wow. So no amount of looks can get you past if they're not funny?
No.
Wow.
Actually, no. Not past a week mark or something like that.
Okay.
So I've actually in the past been like, oh my god, this girl's really, really hot. And then if you talk to her and it's really nothing coming back, I actually can't move forward with that.
Okay.
I can't hook up with somebody. Even that I can't do without a pretty strong feeling that this person is
really. So does
funny and smart.
Your girlfriend now, does she have like the same kind of sense of humor as you do?
Yes and no. She's funny in different ways. I like weirdness.
Okay.
That's honestly probably up there with funniness.
Why?
I like people who are weird.
Okay, I've never heard anyone say that. What do you mean weird?
Who are just left of center. Like I get very, very bored with traditional conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend now is weird. And she's very smart. Smart is important, but not as important, really.
See, okay.
I gotta know, like, you can hang in a conversation. Like, we could talk for 2 hours and it would be funny and interesting and everything else. Because very often, okay, let's say my physical ideal was standing in front of me, and then she started talking, and it was like, oh my god, like, have you ever had the new white Tootsie Rolls or whatever? And that was like it. Which is a huge percentage of Los Angeles where like the conversation is death.
And that exact sentence sounds like something I would say, but continue.
Well, if that's all you got. And the white Tootsie Rolls are delicious. That might start a little conversation.
Yeah, it's totally unique.
I know, usually like within a few sentences, like...
A few sentences?
My interest level goes completely down if somebody isn't like...
Intelligent.
Hanging with me,
right.
You know?
See, all I care about, like way more than anything else, don't care about looks. I only care about intelligence. Sense of humor is great.
Yeah.
But I can't get past, there are a lot of really smart guys who try to be funny but aren't really. And that is a total deal breaker. Like I can't deal with that.
Well, and there are a lot of people here as well who think they have to be like super on.
The men here are really like that. Yeah. It's exhausting.
I was honestly talking more
about
guys where like, you know, they're just doing some bit that's like, it's been going on for 10 minutes and you're like kind of trying to go with it, but it's also like, we've been talking for 10 minutes, I don't know a single thing about you, we're not connecting on any sort of level, this bit isn't funny, but there's a whole lot of it. Like everyone here seems like they're on cocaine and they're just desperately trying to get you to like them or whatever else, and that doesn't work well.
And guys are a lot louder about that than women. Like women will just like desperately hope that everyone likes them, but men will like aggressively, loudly try to get you. Like even, you know, if I go out with a girlfriend, like a guy sitting not with us will make a really loud joke to his friend and then try to like see if we're looking. And it's like we never want to be included in your conversation, like ever. But that happens so often here, more than any city I've lived in times 10.
God,
it's fucking exhausting.
Went to dinner last night and there was a first date probably behind us, first date probably ahead of us. And both of these dates were the guy yammering on and the girl looking like she wanted to kill herself.
Yeah.
And they'll probably go home and have sex. And that's very depressing to me. And that's maybe when I get older, that'll be a frustration when I look back at my life, is that if I go to dinner with somebody and it's just like, ugh, I can't flip into sex mode. I can't do it. Whereas 99% of guys, I think, can.
Right. And girls too, probably.
And girls too, sure. But I can't. I have to have some sort of respect for you as a person, a conversationalist, somebody who's funny, whatever else.
I know that really confuses me. A lot of really smart girlfriends I have, I'll be like, oh, how was your date? Oh, it was really bad. Like, you know, I don't like him. I'm like, oh, did you have sex with him? Yeah, like we had sex afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, why?
And that was bad.
Yeah, and that was bad.
So it's like, well, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Although, I know when I'm 60, I'll be like, I wish I would have just banged some people that I could have just because I could have, you know. But it's hard. Like, it's hard. Even drunk. Like, sometimes I'll find when I was dating, I find myself drinking just to kind of shut off my impressions of the person, you know? Because it's like, well, don't be a snob or don't be whatever else. Like, just maybe you'll like her if you drink a lot more.
Oh my God.
But everybody's doing that kind of.
Oh yeah.
And LA is full of just garbage people.
Totally, yeah. Full. It's a garbage dump of people.
Yeah. So you find somebody who's pretty good, it's like you gotta kind of hang in there.
What? But you
do.
love your girlfriend. You're not.
I do.
Right.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. And then with Tinder and all the shit, you know, like I'm always like, okay, I kind of missed the boat on that. That's a pretty new development.
You would never meet someone that you actually liked.
I never would. And all my friends who do Tinder are like, yeah, at first it seems like, oh, this is just a dream, but they're all miserable. I was like, well, you must be having sex all the time. And almost across the board, they're like, no. We go to a terrible dinner or drinks and then don't go home again.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a very unique personality, and for someone to click with you have to be basically like a freak of nature. So you're not going to like meet someone off Tinder.
I tend to sync up with very weird people. But not, you know, not as a criticism at all. I really like weird people.
All right.
That's all.
Well, weird is just a broad word.
Yeah. And LA is full of people who are like, think they're weird or are trying to be weird.
And they are weird because they're, you know.
But it's an off-putting sort of desperate, fake weird.
Yes.
Really, they're the most boring people in the world.
Yeah.
That, honestly, if I could revise my answer, because sense of humor is boring, not boring is my number one criterion.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I, to a huge fault of mine.
Right, because you probably date a lot of crazy women because of that.
I have. But I get very, very bored with people very quickly and easily.
Yeah, me too.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
That's not a good quality.
No.
So I need somebody who's not boring.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's terrible.
But that doesn't mean you got to be like throwing, you know, plates at my head.
But
like,
it would help.
No, I don't like that either. I have been in those relationships.
Really?
I just like somebody who's like brings their own shit to the party. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know?
That's a great answer, yeah.
Just like where it's like, oh, that's an interesting way of looking at things or whatever. Oh, that's funny or that's cool. Or...
Yeah, me too. Like, I just want someone who is comfortable with their own weird thoughts. Because everyone really is weird.
Yeah.
Like, people are trying to be weird, that's like a whole different thing. But if you're just comfortable in the way you think, then that's very attractive, I think.
That, I'm going to revise my answer again.
Okay, there are only so many revisions you can have.
Being comfortable with somebody is most important. And I'm never comfortable with anybody.
So, being comfortable is important. You seem like a very comfortable with yourself person, though.
Well, that's an act. But if I can be, like, if I can just sit with somebody and watch a movie and be completely comfortable, that is like a huge, huge thing.
I totally get you. Like,
and
in
that's
what way
rare.
are you uncomfortable usually doing that sort of activity?
It's just the overthinking and all that shit. And I'm thinking, what does this person think? Does this person like me? Does this person whatever else?
Okay.
And there's something to be said for just like knowing that you're sitting and watching a movie with a person who likes and respects you and gets you, and they know that you like and respect and get them.
That's so cute, Pat.
Well, sure. And you're just sitting and enjoying a movie, or you're going to dinner or whatever else. But that's rare. And the other, like, before this relationship, I had a period where I was like, I'm going to try to be a real, like, casual, like, dating, having fun guy, whatever. And it's just not, I'm not cut out for it.
Right.
And, like, you go home and you're going to watch a movie, but the whole time, I'm like, like, I gotta, like, your brain's going crazy. That's not good.
Yeah.
So the times when I've gotten into relationships are the times where, like, date 3, we're hanging out and it's like, it just kind of feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, maybe it does for some, but it never eventually gets right for me. Like, I tend to right away, I make very snap judgments of people and they're usually right.
Yeah. So at what point for you does it become obvious? Like, for me, it's always the same. Like, if I'm driving to someone's house, like, I'm at your house. 'Cause we're the point in the relationship when I know that it's not going to work is simply when I'm driving to their house and I'm not excited when I get there.
Huge.
So what's your thing?
For me, I would say that, but I would go further with it where I dread it.
You dread seeing them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if they're...
That's pretty bad.
Because I am Irish and whatever else, you tend to put up with shit forever and ever.
Totally.
It's kind of like the Irish way.
Mm-hmm.
And if... like if it's not working, just drink more.
Yeah.
Or numb yourself to it. But so I have been guilty of that in the past, and letting things go on for too long, and getting back together with people I definitely should not have, and things like that. And that's all guilt in my case. But for me, it's like if I'm dating a girl and she's coming over, and I'm like, ugh.
Really?
Or if I'm driving over there and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Isn't that awful?
You know, just I like when you see somebody like. Your eyes both. I'm sounding like I'm writing a romantic comedy or something, but just like where your eyes light up and you're excited to see each other.
That's cute.
Which is very, very, very rare.
Yeah, it is.
And especially rare that it can last for a long period of time.
Yeah. So you are a comedy writer.
Sure.
So how did that start?
I was an NBC page in New York, like Kenneth on 30 Rock.
Page.
Right. Before Kenneth, I must say. But I was always, from when I was a kid, obsessed with comedy. John Hughes and all that kind of shit. Loved it. And that's all I ever wanted to do my whole life. So then I got into the page program. I worked in late night marketing for like Conan and SNL and all that. So I was around some comedy. And it's very, very frustrating because I was just like getting them coffee and shit. But then now I've taken the comedy world by storm.
Okay, so you completely
some
skipped
short
the part
10 years later.
where you become a comedy writer.
Oh, well, I wrote a pilot about the Page program.
Oh, you did?
Before 30 Rock.
Huh.
Not that they stole the idea.
I mean, that's
certainly.
what you're implying.
Waiting for some money from Miss Faye at this time. But yeah, it was probably not the ideal time to write a show, because it was also Studio 60. It was around that time. You remember Studio 60?
No.
It was Aaron Sorkin's treated the world of comedy sketch writing with the same level of importance that he treated like Iraq in the West Wing.
Oh, okay.
And it was ludicrous, but it's a good watch because it's terrible. It really is terrible. And Aaron Sorkin's obviously a very talented writer, but it's a mess. Okay. It's a real mess. But so yeah, wrote that, got some attention of people in Los Angeles. I was living in New York at the time. Came out to LA. At the time I had a writing partner. We were friends from the Page program. We came out together. Got a job on Rob and Big After Much Struggle, which is the reality show with Rob Dyrdek and his bodyguard.
Oh my God. Okay.
So that was after 2 years of me temping at State Farm Insurance out here, which is not really a temp job when you've been there for 2 years. And we wrote there for like a month because Rob and Big weren't speaking to each other. And the whole show thrives on their chemistry. So we had to come up with shit for them to do. Then we got a job on the Bill Engvall show, who is the least funny of the blue-collar comedy
Okay, it sounds like you're making all of this up.
This is all true. We found out we got the job. We were like, holy shit, we got a job on a sitcom. And this is what really drives me nuts about people in LA, is because they'll be like, oh, you're writing for that show or whatever else. They would all throw their grandmother down a flight of stairs to write for the worst show on television.
I know.
They really would. Everyone here. And they know it. But they need to cut others down all the time.
Right.
So the Bill Engvall show was not going to be funny, but we were like excited to have the job. And I believe it also starred a young, what's the Hunger Games girl? Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, it was her big break.
Jinx. Okay, right, go on.
So,
that was her big break.
It's not really a jinx when you're both trying to answer the same question, but...
I'll be the judge of what's a jinx.
Is that what this podcast is? Jinx or not a jinx?
Yeah, and it's over now. It happens. Thank you.
Okay. So we were excited to have that job, and then they said the only reason I wouldn't be able to hire you guys is if the Writers Guild strike happens. And then the Writers Guild strike happened that day, basically.
Oh my
God. It was devastating. They were like, as long as it doesn't last a long time, we'll still be able to get you guys on the show. And it lasted 100 days.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything about the Writers Guild strike because they'll have goons here to drag me out. But you could argue whether or not it was effective. I would say the 27-cent check I just got on Friday would say that maybe it's not the most effective.
Well, a lot of attempts aren't effective. It doesn't mean you shouldn't make them.
Yeah, that's true. But that strike actually was a blessing because we lost. That job went away, and we wound up getting on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a very funny show.
One of the funniest shows.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's still on the air, unless you're passing judgment what that was.
Sorry. I saw you on that show once when I was Googling you because you said you were going to do my podcast.
Yeah.
And it was, you were pretending to be a really bad stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And it was a little too good.
Yeah, I wasn't pretending. They actually filmed my act.
That was just rare footage.
Yeah.
Like,
I was the MC in that one.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I guess I was a comedian too.
Did you write those lines?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I did not. I did do. Fred Savage was directing it.
Oh, okay.
Little name drop for you. So that was very bizarre because I idolized him from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Of course. But he was like, Pat, we need you like in the background of scenes, so just do like 5 minutes of bad stand-up that we won't use. So I just made it up. But it was really good bad stand-up.
It was really good bad
well,
stand-up.
I lost the tape, but it was like, hey, you're ever at the grocery store and you get that shopping cart with the one squeaky wheel? Like that kind of stuff. And a lot of like remote control.
Wait, what's the end of the joke?
That was it. just have you ever done that?
Oh my god.
And then like
I wish I could see that.
Like, you know when your girl's using the remote control and she's watching what she wants to watch and you'd rather watch what you want to watch? And that was the end of that joke. So somewhere there's that 5 minutes of terrible stand-up. But that was obviously a very fun job. Left that job, got a big splashy overall deal at NBC. Mm-hmm. Wrote for the hit sitcom Outsourced. Lasted one season. And then I've been on Two Broke Girls ever since.
Do you like Two Broke Girls?
I do. I love the live audience aspect of it, which has pros and cons, because a lot of times you're trying to serve an audience that is not representative of what you truly love and find funny.
Always, yeah.
So what we find hilarious in the room, 10 gifted comedy writers, or less at this point, we all laugh and laugh and laugh, and you put it up in front of an audience and they're just like silent. And that sucks.
Yeah.
So I wish sometimes we trusted that the smarter, better jokes should stay in, but a lot of times it's serving that crowd, which can be frustrating, but it's also great to like hear big laughs and shit. And you don't get the cheat that single cam shows get of like, if something's not funny or you don't have any good jokes in the scene, you just have the guy look at the camera and roll his eyes or something, and then that's you're out of the scene. We have to like have lots of really hard jokes the whole time.
Oh wow.
So it's pros and cons. They all have pros and cons, but I have a good time doing it.
At my work 2 days ago, we had a sexual harassment seminar.
How to do it?
Yeah, how to sexually harass.
Mm-hmm.
And
I could have taught that.
The only footage they showed was clips from Two Broke Girls. It was like 17 minutes of clips from Two Broke Girls.
But were the clips?
They were being sexually harassed.
Oh yeah, well they're like, always sexually
harassed. Is this appropriate? And it's always, no, the directors should.
You mean like the chef saying like, I'll put my dick in your hair?
Yeah, like
is that harassment?
Is that harassment? Or is it discrimination? It's hard to tell.
There's a lot of both on the show, to be honest. But I think that's representative of the world today.
Oh, totally. I'm not attacking you.
No, I mean you can, but I'm glad that it's living on in sexual harassment seminars. I wonder if I get residuals from that Writers Guild strike.
Probably not.
No, probably
not. What else should we talk about?
Well, you said you had a lot of personal probing questions.
I do. Again, so you are a little OCD.
Not in terms of like Lena Dunham Q-tipping her ear. You see that?
No.
That was their OCD episode. She dug it into her brain like through.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of disturbing. Actually.
I've never seen an episode of that show.
Oh, it's good when it's good. Yeah. And then I don't like say I got to turn this light switch on 10 times, on and off or whatever. I'm trivializing a very serious mental illness.
Yeah, I see that.
But I do have OCD in terms of human interaction. So like if somebody usually gives me a big wave and a smile, and then this day they give me a half-ass wave with no smile.
Oh, totally.
Even if we don't even know or care about each other at all, I'll think about that for like 24 hours.
Are you the funniest person at your job?
Oh, I can't. answer that.
You didn't say no. I mean, like the obvious answer would be to say no.
Well, honestly, if you're going to be a comedy writer, you better think that you're the funniest person at your job.
Seriously?
And I think the people that don't last are the people who are like, I'm not funny.
That's me.
That you're not going to work in a comedy writer's room. Because the room, you can write your own shit, write a movie or whatever else. That's perfect. But the comedy writer's room, you kind of got to step in there like, I'm the funniest person here, or else you'll get eaten alive.
That is such interesting advice. I've never heard anyone say anything like that.
Well, I think I tend to be a little more honest than people. You know? Mm-hmm. The whole...
Hence you not dyeing your beard.
Exactly. And I don't have, like, filler in my face. But the whole town, this whole garbage town, La La Land, as they call it, is just full of people lying to themselves, lying to others, whatever else. The truth is, if you're going to succeed in a comedy writer's room, you can learn from people and stuff like that. Sure, you have to be open to that. And maybe people there are better than you or funnier than you or whatever else. But you have to have an extreme amount of confidence in yourself, or why would you do this to begin with?
Right.
And then you also have to manage it and not become a horrific monster in the process.
Which you
and that's the balance.
Yeah.
That's the balance most people can't strike, I feel like. I have friends who have become monsters.
In what way? Like they just think that they're the most brilliant person.
Yeah, as they start, it is as you start getting success in the area you've wanted success your whole life, which is a niche, hard to get into
Very
business.
hard, yeah.
There's, I don't know, it's a quote by somebody, but it's like this is how smart I am. There's a quote by somebody that success doesn't make you an asshole, is basically the quote. Success amplifies whatever you actually are. So if you are an asshole, success is going to make you a huge asshole. Mm-hmm. But if you're a genuinely good person, ideally that will stick throughout your success.
I like that. I think that's true, which is
I think it's true as well.
Because I know a lot of people who have become nuts as well.
Yeah,
like, totally
an asshole is different from nuts. I mean,
well, bull.
People, and we're not even talking about huge levels of success here. Can make people go crazy. So I don't know how like a Brad Pitt gets through the damn day.
I know. He must just be a really genuine Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he would have to be. Yeah. I guess he balances it out by adopting every child that crosses his field of vision.
Every fucking kid. So it's interesting the thing you said about having enough confidence to think you're the funniest person in the room instead of like being modest or something.
Well, I also like.
It's very honest.
When I get home from work, I'm not like, boy, you fucking killed it today, baby. Into the mirror. Like, it's not like Boogie Nights or whatever, where I'm jerking off out of frame while looking at myself in the eye. I come home and hate myself and feel all I think about is the jokes that didn't get. Because especially with the multicam, when you pitch a joke and it's like, he's like, my boss like, we need a joke really quick, and you pitch a joke and it goes right in and they do it and it gets a huge laugh. It's like, that's the greatest feeling in the world. Mm-hmm. But there are times too where you're like, I got it, and you pitch a joke and it goes in and the audience like, maybe they don't even register it as a joke.
Right, yeah.
They're all like silent. I think about that for like a month and a half.
Oh fuck, are you kidding me?
No, not at all. So it's not like, when I say like it's important to be confident, I'm saying it's important to act like you have confidence.
Okay.
But I don't have any confidence. There are times when I've thought that was a funny vine, that was a funny tweet, that was a funny joke, whatever else, and I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
But then the next time you step up to the plate, if it doesn't do as well, you hate yourself
to the
again.
Plate. Right, yeah.
But that's the whole job. Really.
Do you like living in LA?
No. But I also don't like living anywhere else I've ever lived.
Same.
I lived in Missouri my whole life through college, and that wasn't going to fly for long.
Uh-huh. I lived in Missoula, which is 2 letters
Minnesota?
off. Montana.
Montana.
I also lived in Minnesota.
Okay. The place I get, and I lived in New York too, I get homesick more from Missouri, like having seasons and shit. Mm-hmm. I like snow, I like cold, I like wearing sweaters and shit. And then New York, I lived for 2.5, 3 years and really liked it, but I was definitely ready to leave when I left. And LA, I think, is the worst place on earth for a while. Uh-huh. But now that I am doing okay and have some security, I like it more. But this and New York are the worst places to be without money. It's fun, but you also like these cities are designed for people with a lot of money. And then you get some money, I'm speaking for myself, and I immediately feel nostalgic for times when I did not have money.
In what way? Oh my god.
Because like when I moved to LA...
How dare you say that in the presence of this beautiful house?
Well, thank you. But when I first moved to LA, I would walk the streets alone. Very alone. With a 32-ounce Slurpee full of tequila.
Yeah. I find this incredibly easy to picture. Go on.
Oh, that was it. And I would just kind of walk around, pop into a bar, you know, make out with some girl, stumble onto the next bar.
What?
That's just what I did.
You're fucking joking.
And I would get home at 2:30 in the morning and wake up next to a fully wrapped burrito that I hadn't eaten the night before. And at the time I was like, my life is so terrible. And now I'm always like, boy, that was fun. Walking around the city with a tequila Slurpee. Waking up next to burritos.
Working for State Farm Insurance.
Working for State Farm. Because then you're striving for something.
Right.
So like when you get, I'm not saying all my dreams have come true. There's still a lot of things I'd like to accomplish or whatever. But like a huge goal of mine was to get a house. And I just got a house. And you move in, and it's very true what they say. It's not like if that's your whole goal, you don't like move in and you're immediately happy.
Right.
It's just kind of like, it's more of a, oh, I got what I was striving for and I'm not happy still.
You're not happy now?
I'm happy enough.
Can I have your house?
Yeah, you can have.
You can have my apartment.
I'm not whining either.
It's in
but
Valley
that's the mentality. Is that I think that's the only people that succeed in the entertainment industry are people who are never satisfied or never happy or never feel good about themselves, because that's what drives you to keep going back and working harder and harder and harder. Mm-hmm. The people who are like, I'm the shit,
well, yeah,
never get anywhere because they're definitely not the shit. But it is very easy to fall into that, I'll just catch a paycheck and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Very easy.
Yeah.
But like I come home from my job, which is a job, and I'm always like, I gotta be writing this, I gotta be writing that, I gotta be working on this. Mm. And that's what will make you successful, probably. Or it won't if you suck. But like, there's so many things where I'll work on it for a long time and then just throw it away. And you've wasted 3 months on something.
Oh yeah, wasting time is like a huge part of work.
But there are people who won't waste that time. And people who are like, well, why would I spend 6 months writing a script if I don't know 100% that it's going to be a huge, successful Hollywood film?
You have to be crazy to do that.
Yeah.
To do what you just said. So it's true. Like you have to be.
You're working for free.
Delusional. Yeah.
And you have to be. Yeah, confident is the better way to put it, but really it's delusional. Yeah. It's like thinking that this thing I'm doing for no money that I find funny or I find interesting, somebody will like down the road. Mm-hmm. But
better than the hundreds of other things that they have.
Exactly. With bigger people attached, and etc. And then you just have to shut off the part of your brain that's like, that's insane to think that way. Because still to this day, like I'll be writing a movie script or something, and all you hear the whole time is, nobody's going to want to make this.
Right.
Why would you do this? And it's very easy. That's what we were talking about pot earlier. That's why I don't smoke a ton of pot. Because if I smoked a ton of pot, then I'd be having those thoughts and I'd go, you're right. Why don't you go watch, 3 seasons of The Simpsons today instead of writing?
Happy. Yeah.
And then just go laugh and have fun and get high. Because that's always what I want to do. Mm-hmm. But you also want your shit to get made and seen. Is this making sense?
Yeah, total sense.
Okay.
No, this is great, actually. This is not where I saw this going, but I'm really enjoying this conversation. So what was the biggest breakthrough that you made in therapy?
The biggest breakthrough for me was that she told me that I have OCD, but for not in the traditional way like we talked about earlier. Like in terms of interpersonal contact, I obsess about things. I need to let that go. And the best help I had, maybe this would help somebody who's listening to your podcast, but she was like, when you're having a thought like that, like when you start to go down this road, like somebody who bothers me, or I see an Instagram that bothers me or something, it's like these stupid shit that ruins your life.
Right.
She was like, you can go cancel. Just say cancel and cancel that thought. It's not helping you. And I was like, all right, easier said than done. But she was like, what did you like to do when you were a kid? And I was a huge nerd. So I used to try to memorize all the Best Picture nominees and shit. Like throughout history. All right. So it should be like, start start with like 1927 and try to list the best picture winners the next time you're in one of these spirals.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that'll work fine. And then I started doing it, and after you get up to like 1940, and then I was like, oh, I'm not thinking about my other shit anymore, and then I can enjoy a movie.
That's great.
Or talk to somebody I'm sitting with.
Yeah.
And not be thinking about 30 other things.
Yeah.
Because it's death for a relationship too.
Right.
Because they can tell that your mind's worrying and you're thinking about other shit.
Oh, just is negative energy that you're creating for no reason.
Yeah. Exactly.
I recently started doing that because I obsess about things forever, and my mind's just like that. Like, I'll get some random song from the 80s stuck in my head for the entire day, a song I don't even like.
Yeah.
But that's just how my mind is. And like, I used to play in orchestra pits, and we would play the same opera over and over and over.
Yeah.
So you practice it, and then
Where did you play?
Perform it. Just college.
Okay.
Like, whatever. But at the end, we played it hundreds of times.
Right.
Hundreds and hundreds of times. And everyone was like, oh, this is the last time we have to play it. And I was like, I don't care. Like, it's just the same for me.
Yeah.
But I recently started doing that too, where I am like, you're not going to think about this for 40 minutes. And I'll just stop.
Yeah.
Because my life is like too hard right now that I had to start doing that.
Yeah. Or like, am I going to go to this person's Twitter page to anger myself? And
Go
you
to
just
there
say no.
with replies and see,
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
You just say no.
Yeah. And I remind myself of my age, and I'm like, you can't be wasting your time on shit like that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, and I'm older than you. It's like...
Well, in guy years, we're the same age.
But yeah, it's just, you realize how incredibly stupid it is. And I think social media is a big part of creating these things.
Totally.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have to know anything about anybody.
Right.
Unless you call them up and connect with them. And that 80s song stuff, according to my therapist, when I had super difficult times at my job, which has been a very, what do you call it? Contentious? Does that mean like difficult? Mm-hmm. Contentious.
Yeah, like argumentative.
Yeah. Oh, so let's say uber contentious, which my job was at different times. Then what I find myself doing is I would sing "Take Me Home Tonight."
That's the one I had stuck in my head the other day.
That's very weird. And I would sing it constantly on a loop and not even be aware of it. And my coworkers would be like, "Pat, why are you always humming that fucking song? Like, stop it." And it's OCD, and it's a defense mechanism, and also the fact that the song is saying "Take me home tonight" as an escape. That I'm just lobbing softballs to my therapist to be like, "Oh, well, listen to what you're saying. You're wanting to get out of there and go home, so you're singing these songs."
Our brains are so stupid, and like a lot of times, I think of the '80s song, it's something really clear like that too, like with really clear lyrics, and it's like, why is my brain so dumb, and why isn't an '80s song?
Yeah, take me home. Well, you said you had personal questions. I'm ready for them.
Okay, so who's your best friend?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. That's hard to say. I definitely have a best friend in each of those 3 cities I've lived in.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't have like a best friend that I always turn to for shit.
Okay.
Except, maybe my girlfriend.
Your girlfriend.
But I have a best friend in Missouri. I have one from when I was 5, who's like my childhood best friend.
Really? Wow.
I have another friend I met in college in Missouri who's probably closer than that one, to be honest, because people change.
Yeah. I really hope that the 5-year-old best friend doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, I don't think he'd be bothered. He didn't make me the best man at his wedding, so I'm still very angry for him. No, I'm kidding. And I have a best friend out here, but he lives out by the sea, and we don't see each other near enough either.
Right.
And that, I think, is a sad part of life, is that I don't have, like, a super close best friend.
Yeah, me neither. I don't have someone that I like see even one besides my coworkers. I don't have anyone that I see once a week even.
Yeah.
And in Montana, it's so easy because you're like, I'll meet you down at the bar that's like 4 blocks from me and 8 blocks from you.
Exactly.
And we'll get really cheap beers and play pool or gamble.
Yeah.
But that's not here because everyone's trying to make their dream happen, or making their dream happen, which is even busier than trying to make your dream happen.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
And then you always have to impose on friendships out here, because people are always like, hey, can you read this or recommend me to this job? And then immediately, unless we're already real close, that snaps me into a place of, this isn't really a friendship.
Do you get asked that a lot?
I do get asked that a lot.
Okay.
And there are very, 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 very few people that I'm like excited to help out.
Right.
And a lot of times I don't want to read it because I know it'll suck.
Yeah. Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And you don't want to like lose respect for someone. These are terrible things to say.
Okay, so that's the end of our podcast.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you want to say? Any threats you want to dole out to any enemies?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I don't have anything to plug.
I didn't want you to plug, so that's perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Watch Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
There's no advertising behind it. Okay, so we're going to do a quick word association game so I can just figure out exactly how crazy you are.
Okay.
And just say the first thing that comes to your head as quickly as possible.
All right.
Are you ready?
Just one word or say like a thought?
Either.
Okay, all right.
Okay, ready? Quickly as you can.
Yeah.
Woman.
Girlfriend.
Man.
Boyfriend.
Dating.
Fun.
Child.
Not yet.
Children.
Someday.
Money.
Love it.
Death.
Scared of it.
Happy.
Feeling pretty happy.
Sad.
Sad all the time.
Failure.
Scared of failure.
Microsoft Word.
Don't have it on my computer. Wish I did. Need it all the time.
Microsoft Excel.
Ridiculous. Nobody needs it if you're not an accountant.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Well, it was great talking to you.
Great talking to you.
Bye, Pat.
Bye, Mary.